Imagine holding a coin in your hand that you might dismiss as just another ordinary quarter, something you'd toss into a parking meter or use for a quick soda. But what if that very coin was hiding a secret so valuable, so extraordinary, that it could completely transform the way you see loose change forever? That's the story behind the US 1968 Washington $quarter coin error, a piece of history that at first glance blends in perfectly with millions of others minted that year. Yet for collectors it stands as one of the most fascinating and valuable finds. This coin is not just about the familiar profile of George Washington or the patriotic eagle on the reverse, it's about the tiny imperfections and mistakes during its minting that elevate its worth into staggering territory, anywhere between $58,000 and $138,000 depending on condition, rarity, and demand. Just think about it. Something that looks so ordinary could quietly be worth more than some luxury cars or even a down payment on a house. To appreciate why this 1968 Washington quarter has collectors buzzing, you have to understand the era it was born into. The late 1960s were a turbulent time in America. The country was grappling with social changes, political turmoil, and massive shifts in everyday life. Yet, at the same time, the U.S. Mint was busy cranking out coins to keep up with the growing economy. By 1965, silver had been removed from circulating dimes and quarters, and the new copper-nickel-clad coins became the standard. The 1968 Washington quarter belongs to this new era of coinage, but with its clad construction came an increased chance for minting errors, from misaligned dies to double strikes to off-center impressions. These mistakes, while accidents to the mint, became hidden treasures for collectors. Now, when you think about coin errors, you might picture something obvious, a coin missing part of its design, or a blank planchet, or maybe even two designs struck on the same piece. But the real beauty of the 1968 era quarter is that some of its flaws are subtle, the kind of thing most people would never notice. For instance, there are reports of quarters struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the mint accidentally used a metal blank meant for a dime or a foreign coin. Imagine picking up a quarter only to find it smaller, thinner, or lighter than it should be. To most people, it might feel like just a worn-down piece of change, but in the world of collectors that could be a five-figure payday. And then there are the dramatic misstrikes, coins that were pressed with misaligned dies so that Washington's profile might be shifted to the edge, or the eagle on the back looks distorted, off-center, or incomplete. These types of errors add an unmistakable uniqueness to the coin, turning what should have been a routine minting into an unrepeatable accident frozen in time. Some of these error coins have surfaced in pristine condition, tucked away in drawers or collections for decades before anyone realized what they truly were. That's part of the allure. Anyone, anywhere, might unknowingly have one of these 1,968 treasures hidden in their pocket change or an old jar of coins at home, so why the massive price tag? Why would collectors be willing to pay anywhere between $58,000 to $138,000 for what started as just a 25-cent piece? The answer lies in scarcity, demand, and story. Error coins are by their very nature rare. The U.S. Mint produces billions of coins, but only a handful slip through with mistakes that survive circulation. When one does, especially from an era like the 1960s when coin collecting was already booming, it becomes a kind of holy grail. Add to that the fascination with transitional periods in U.S. coinage, like the switch from silver to clad metal, and you have a recipe for skyrocketing value. Collectors don't just see these coins as metal, they see them as tangible pieces of history, with stories embedded in their flaws. Think about it. One of these error quarters could be hiding in a collection passed down from your grandparents, or even in the change you dump onto the counter after a grocery run. That possibility creates excitement and keeps the hunt alive. And when one of these coins does appear at auction, the bidding can get fierce. Stories abound of collectors vying for ownership, pushing the price higher and higher until it reaches eye-watering figures. Imagine standing in an auction room, hearing the bids climb, 40,000, 50,000, 70,000, and then the hammer falls at over $100,000 for a single quarter from 1968. That moment isn't just about the coin, it's about the thrill of owning something unique, something no one else in the world has in quite the same way. But let's dive a little deeper into what makes the 1968 error quarters so captivating. Some examples feature double dies, where the image looks like it has a faint shadow, almost like it was struck twice but slightly offset. The effect can be seen in the lettering of Liberty, the phrase "In God We Trust," or even the date, That doubling transforms the coin into a collector's dream, because unlike generic circulation where a double die error proves it was a mistake during minting, not just damage after the fact. And then there's the condition factor. If one of these coins survives in near-perfect shape, untouched by decades of circulation, its value skyrockets even higher. That's when you start hitting the upper ranges of $138,000. Now picture this. Someone finds a jar of old coins in their attic, dusts it off, and inside they see a 1968 quarter that feels a little unusual. Maybe it looks slightly off-center, maybe the rim isn't quite right, or maybe the lettering appears doubled. To the untrained eye, it might just look weird, but for the right collector or grading expert, that same coin could be life-changing. Stories like these fuel the imagination and keep coin enthusiasts on constant alert. After all, the difference between a 25-cent piece and a six-figure payday comes down to a careful eye and a bit of luck. The 1968 Washington quarter error isn't just a coin, it's a reminder of how mistakes can sometimes become masterpieces. It teaches us that value doesn't always come from perfection. It often comes from the unexpected, the flawed, the unique. For collectors, each error coin is like a fingerprint, one of a kind and impossible to duplicate. And for those who stumble upon one, it's proof that even in the most ordinary places, extraordinary treasures can be found. So the next time you have some change in your pocket or you're counting quarters from a coin jar, take a closer look. Because hidden among those everyday coins could be a 1968 Washington quarter error worth anywhere from $58,000 to $138,000. It's a thought that turns the act of spending loose change into a treasure hunt, where the prize could be a fortune disguised as a simple piece of pocket change. And that's the magic of coins like this. Their true value lies not just in the money they can fetch, but in the excitement, mystery, and history they carry with them, waiting for the right person to notice. The 1981 Washington quarter-dollar coin error. At face value, it's just 25 cents, a quarter that you might have used for a parking meter, a soda machine, or tossed into a tip jar. But when you dig deeper, when you understand the errors and quirks that slipped through the U.S. Mint during that year, suddenly this coin transforms into something extraordinary. We're talking about potential auction prices that have stunned collectors and casual owners alike, ranging anywhere from $48,000 to an astonishing $124,000. Yes, that's right, a quarter in your loose change could be worth six figures. Now, you might be asking yourself, how could a coin so common, minted in the millions, end up being so rare, so valuable, and so sought after? The answer lies in the fascinating world of minting errors, overlooked details, and the relentless pursuit of collectors who know that even the tiniest variation can change the destiny of a coin. The 1981 Washington quarter isn't rare in its ordinary form. In fact, it's one of the most circulated coins in American pockets during that time. But when an error occurs, whether it's a double die, an off-center strike, a planchet issue, or something unusual during the minting process, suddenly that ordinary coin becomes a treasure, a one-in-a-million find that can turn everyday people into the proud owners of life-changing value. Think about it. Most people handle coins daily, tossing them into piggy banks, glove compartments, or jars at home. Yet, hidden among the ordinary, there might be a coin that carries this extraordinary error, waiting to be recognized. For the 1981 quarter, certain misstrikes and double die errors have already commanded prices upwards of $48,000 to $124,000 at major auctions. Imagine the look on someone's face when they bring a coin to be appraised, thinking it might be worth a few dollars, and the expert tells them they're holding something valued at over $100,000. That moment of shock, disbelief, and excitement is what keeps collectors and treasure hunters scanning every coin they touch. But beyond just the dollar signs, the 1981 Washington quarter tells a deeper story about American coinage and the imperfections in our minting system that create beauty from mistakes. George Washington's profile, iconic and dignified, graces the obverse of this coin, as it has for decades. On the reverse, the eagle spreads its wings, a powerful symbol of freedom and strength. Yet within these familiar designs, flaws can emerge. A double die might make Washington's profile look blurred or ghosted. An off-center strike could shift the entire design away from its intended position, and a defective planchet might create an unusual surface. Each of these variations transforms a routine coin into a rarity that captures the imagination. For collectors, part of the thrill is the chase. The 1981 Washington quarter-era coin is not simply about value. It's about history, rarity, and the joy of discovery. Some of these coins were discovered tucked away in jars that hadn't been opened for years. Others surfaced from everyday transactions where a sharp-eyed individual noticed something strange about the design. These stories add to the allure, reminding us that treasures can truly be hiding in plain sight. Now picture this. You're holding a quarter, perhaps one that's been rattling around in your pocket for weeks. You flip it over, and instead of the crisp, clean lines of Washington's face, you see a doubled image, or maybe the eagle on the back looks off, slightly shifted, not where it should be. In that moment, the coin no longer feels ordinary. It feels like a key to another world, one where collectors and experts are willing to pay tens of thousands to own it. And that's what makes the story so thrilling, because while most people pass quarters without a second thought, those who know what to look for have the power to uncover something truly life-changing. Auction houses have seen it firsthand. A 1981 Washington quarter-era comes up for sale, and what starts as curiosity soon erupts into a bidding war. Collectors, eager to add one of the rarest era coins of that era to their collection, push the price higher and higher until it hits staggering figures. Between $48,000 and $124,000 is not just a possibility, it's a documented reality. The market for rare era coins is stronger than ever, fueled by history buffs, investors, and treasure hunters alike. And here's the part that truly excites collectors. The possibility that more undiscovered 1981-era quarters are still out there, circulating quietly or resting unnoticed in old drawers, piggy banks, and coin jars across America. How many of these coins are still waiting to be found? How many lives could be changed with the simple act of spotting a rare error on a coin that most people overlook? That thought alone is enough to spark the imagination of anyone watching this video. The story of the 1981 Washington quarter-era coin is more than just about money. It's about mystery, history, and the excitement of the unexpected. It reminds us that sometimes the most ordinary objects can carry extraordinary secrets. And for those who are curious, observant, and just a little bit lucky, a simple quarter could become a once-in-a-lifetime treasure worth $48,000 to $124,000. So, the next time you hold a quarter from 1981, don't just see it as spare change. Look closely, inspect the details, because in those tiny imperfections might lie the story of your greatest discovery yet. And who knows, maybe the coin that's been sitting in your pocket all along is the one that changes everything. The Washington quarter has long been one of the most recognizable coins in American history. Introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, this coin has been a staple in the hands, pockets, and cash registers of millions of Americans. By 1992, the design had already been in circulation for 60 years, with the familiar portrait of Washington on the front and the bold eagle on the back. Most people never thought twice about these coins, tossing them into vending machines or using them for laundry, completely unaware that a tiny fraction of them held a secret that could transform a simple quarter into a small fortune. When we talk about coin collecting and rare finds, the 1992 Washington quarter stands out because of the fascinating errors that appeared that year. These errors transformed what was supposed to be an everyday piece of currency into a highly sought-after collectible that has commanded staggering prices on the open market. Some of these error quarters have sold for jaw-dropping amounts, ranging anywhere between $42,000 and $122,000. And it is these figures that capture the attention of collectors and treasure hunters alike, reminding us that the value of a coin often lies not just in its metal, but in its history, its story, and its mistakes. To understand why the 1992 quarter became so special, it helps to look at how coins are made. The U.S. Mint uses massive presses to strike billions of coins each year. Dies engraved with the coin's design press into metal planchets at high speeds, creating the coins we all recognize. In such an industrial process, precision is key, but the sheer volume of production means that mistakes are bound to happen. Most of the time, these mistakes are caught and destroyed before they reach the public. But every once in a while, some slip through the cracks. These are the coins that collectors cherish, because they are one-of-a-kind relics of a process that is supposed to be perfect but occasionally falters. One of the most famous errors tied to the 1992 Washington quarter is the close AM variety. This error occurred not because of a strike gone wrong, but because of a die design mix-up. In 1992, the US Mint began preparing for a design update that would eventually be released on proof coins. Some dies meant for proof coins accidentally made their way into circulation strikes. The most noticeable feature of these coins is the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse side of the quarter. On normal 1992 circulation quarters, the A and M are spaced apart. On the error coins, the A and M are so close they almost touch. To the untrained eye, this might look insignificant, but for collectors it makes all the difference. Because so few of these error coins were struck and even fewer survived in pristine condition, their value has skyrocketed. A certified close AM 1992 Washington quarter in mint state has sold in the range of $42,000 to $122,000, depending on condition and demand. Another fascinating error seen in 1992 quarters involves double dies. Double die errors happen when the die itself shifts slightly during the hubbing process, creating double details on the coin. This doubling can show up in the lettering like Liberty or In God We Trust, or even in Washington's eye and hair. Some of these double dies are so strong they are visible without magnification, while others require careful inspection. The stronger and more dramatic the doubling, the higher the value. Collectors are especially eager to find double die errors from modern years like 1992, because they tend to be far scarcer than those from earlier decades. A bold double die on a 1992 quarter can easily command prices that push into that same $42,000 to $122,000 range if it is found in mint state condition. Off-center strikes also make the 1992 quarter a collector's dream. These errors occur when the planchet is not properly aligned in the press, resulting in a design that is shifted to one side. Off-center strikes can range from minor misalignments of just a few percent to dramatic 50% off-center strikes where half the design is missing. The most valuable examples are those that still show the date clearly, because collectors want to tie the error to a specific year. An off-center 1992 quarter with a large blank crescent and a visible date would be a star attraction in any collection, and in top grades could command those jaw-dropping high-end values. Another type of error that adds intrigue to the 1992 quarter is the broad strike. This occurs when the retaining collar that normally holds the planchet in place during striking is missing or malfunctions. Without the collar, the coin expands outward when struck, producing a larger-than-normal coin with no reeded edge. To most people, it looks bizarre and even counterfeit, but to collectors, it is a sign of a genuine mint mistake. Broad-struck 1992 quarters are highly collectible, and when found in exceptional condition, they can fetch impressive sums. Perhaps the most exciting and rarest of all error types that can appear on a 1992 quarter is the mule error. A mule error happens when two dies that were never meant to be paired together are used to strike a coin. For example, if a Washington quarter obverse die was accidentally paired with a reverse die from another denomination, the result would be a numismatic marvel. Mule errors are exceedingly rare in U.S. coinage, and when they do appear, they become headline news. If a 1992 mule quarter were to surface, its value could easily soar into the six-figure range, placing it comfortably in that $42,000 to $122,000 window or even higher. Another eye-catching error is the missing clad layer. Modern quarters are composed of a copper core with a copper-nickel alloy layer bonded to the surface. Sometimes, one of these clad layers fails to bond properly or falls off, leaving one side of the coin copper-colored. A 1992 quarter missing its clad layer has a distinctive two-tone appearance that makes it instantly recognizable as something unusual. Collectors love these coins because they are visually striking and undeniably the result of a minting error. Depending on grade and eye appeal, such an error could absolutely command a price within that high-value range. The real beauty of the 1992 quarter error story is that these coins are still out there. Unlike ancient coins locked away in museums, these modern errors can still be discovered in circulation, in rolls from the bank, or in old coin jars sitting in closets and attics. Every time someone sorts through their change, there is a chance, however slim, that they could stumble upon one of these remarkable error coins. Just the idea that a simple quarter could secretly be worth between $42,000 and $122,000 adds excitement to the everyday act of handling change. Collectors and dealers always stress the importance of condition when it comes to determining value. A 1992 quarter error found in circulated condition is still valuable, but the truly record-breaking sales go to coins in mint state. That's why authentication and grading from professional services like PCGS or NGC are so important. A certified mint state 1992 quarter error, whether it's a close AM variety, a dramatic double die, or a striking off-center example, is exactly the type of coin that sparks bidding wars and reaches the upper limits of the market. The story of the 1992 quarter is a reminder of why coin collecting is so captivating. It is not just about filling holes in an album or stacking up silver. It is about discovery, history, and the thrill of knowing that something extraordinary can be hiding in plain sight. A quarter that most people overlook, worth only 25 cents to them, could turn out to be worth tens of thousands of dollars because of a small mistake made at the mint more than 3 decades ago. It also speaks to the human fascination with rarity. The reason these coins are so valuable is not just because of the errors themselves, but because of how few exist. When a coin like this appears, collectors know it may be their only chance to own one. That competition drives prices higher and higher until what was once pocket change now carries a value of $42,000 to $122,000. Think about what you would do if you discovered one of these quarters. Would you keep it as the centerpiece of your collection, proudly displaying it as a symbol of your discovery? Or would you sell it, cashing in on the life-changing amount of money it could bring? Either choice carries its own thrill, and either way, the discovery would be unforgettable. So the next time you come across a Washington quarter from 1992, don't dismiss it as ordinary. Take a closer look. Study the spacing of the letters, examine the edges, look for signs of doubling, and watch for anything unusual in its size, shape, or color. Because hidden among the billions of ordinary quarters are a few rare treasures. Coins that transform from everyday change into prized collectibles worth staggering amounts of money. And somewhere out there, one of those extraordinary 1992 quarters might still be waiting for you to find it, holding within it the potential to change a single 25-cent coin into a fortune worth $42,000 to $122,000.